had some success. They've got a veteran lineup. And obviously I'm well aware of our second game being Seton Hall and being one of the best teams in the Big East. But, they didn't practice for 14 days. And, for our guys to come out and face a team that, probably will lose their entire starting lineup, whether to the draft or all seniors. And we've got, freshmen and sophomores and, we're down 4 players right now. I told our group I couldn't be more pleased with what the game meant to them. What the game meant to them. I thought we were, first to the floor in a few of the situations. I thought we were locked into the details of what Western was trying to execute, to only limit them to 8 offensive rebounds, albeit two of the guys got 7 of them, but we knew that's what we were going to face. And I thought our defense was excellent. We took care of the ball until we got pressed. First time we've been in that situation. We'll be better as we move forward, but really happy with our group. We know we have one more game in the bubble, knock on wood, fingers crossed. And we're going to try to get better from this game as we play UNCG here in a few days.
Chris, can you just speak on what Dre, obviously he was good in the first 3 games, but tonight he hit a couple of 3-pointers, took the ball to the basket, and on defense, it seemed like he did a really nice job kind of helping out on defense as well.
Yeah. Dre's a great defensive player, and he doesn't know right now what he doesn't know. He's been through, 4 scouting reports at the college level. The great thing is he's getting all this experience, whereas in maybe most years, maybe he'd certainly be playing. He'd certainly be an impact player on our team. But if you have 8 or 9 guys out there, Jody, or his minutes down, he's got to play through mistakes. He's battling. He's a warrior. It's what we saw from him at Lawrence Central. Moves his feet incredibly well on the defensive end. And, when you're out there for an extended period of time, you start to feel a little comfort out there. I think Dave and Carlik do a great job of sucking in defenders and finding him, and he should shoot with confidence. He's a really good shooter. He does not play like a freshman. He plays really poised, and his body certainly isn't freshman level.
Chris, you mentioned battling, and you mentioned the rebounding. You actually ended up out-rebounding them. And just talk about what Jalen, and then when Aiden got in there as well, did against Bassey, of just kind of keep battling him and kept him – he looked uncomfortable.
Yeah, I thought he was, dominant in the first half with his rebounding, not necessarily his scoring. he's just so daggone strong and quick to the rim that he's going to get a few of those dunks, especially with the playmakers on his team, Jody. And, again, we're some of our guys, Jalen's been in 4 college games. Aiden didn't play much at all last year. So I thought they did a great job of trying to force his catches a little further out. We got him to turn the ball over. I think at times he'll end up settling for threes. We'd like for him to shoot threes. I think he's got a really good touch, but his touch is a hell of a lot scarier 3 feet from the basket than it is 23 feet from the basket. And I thought our guys did a really good job of having the presence of mind off the ball to make his catches difficult in the paint. Same with Carson Williams.
David tonight, just as all-around floor. Obviously Carlik at 18, but David in the first half, not just scoring, but the couple of rebounds that he got in the fast break points that you got off of were from David, and just the things that he did for you his entire floor game.
Yeah, I don't want him to find I don't want him to find his groove because of his shooting. I want him to use that body of his. I thought tonight, he got down in the post a couple times, scored it, drew double teams. He can rebound. He's like a small forward at the point guard position at times. And so, do we want you to make shots? Absolutely. But draw fouls, get in the lane, use your size. David's starting to play a little bit more like I envision him playing as time goes on. Every guard doesn't have to play the same. Every guard doesn't have to play the same, and he's got the gift of size, athleticism, quickness. And I just want him to slow the game down when he does that. He's hard to contend with at his position.
And finally, Chris, when you look at the first 5 games, you knew this was going to be a tough game, as you said. how much confidence does this give the young guys moving forward, and guys like David and Carlik who even have some experience, because that team is going to win a lot of games?
Yeah, I believe it will give them game confidence. I'm a huge believer in not feeling so good about yourself. I don't know if that was the case. Again, no disrespect to Prairie View A&M, but we got young guys. And, we beat a veteran, tough, grizzled Seton Hall team, and then we didn't play very well the other night. And so while it gives us confidence, it can't give us a false sense of entitlement that hey, we can just come. We were locked in. Our guys understood the details. They executed, and they weren't perfect. We have to continue to get better at that stuff. And we're going to face a team that against Greensboro that's won 30 games and been in big games before. So game confidence, yes. Overconfidence, better not.
We'll go now to questions from the media, first with Russ and then Pat.
Yeah, Chris, the announcers were, Jimmy Dykes was talking on the broadcast that you challenged this team in practice and film session, and like to get your take on that.
I'd like to think I always challenge my team. I think that's your job as a coach is to stretch expectations and not lessen your standards to your players. Again, I wasn't very happy after the way that we played against Prairie View. And I knew that Western was going to present a much greater talent challenge and a better team challenge. And so if we didn't execute those details and we weren't ready to play and we were lackadaisical, then we would have got our heads handed to us. I think that's my job, is to continually give my team reality as I see it. And tonight I feel like we were the harder playing team and we earned that win. And again, as we move to Greensboro, tonight won't have anything to do with how we play against Greensboro, or it shouldn't have anything to do.
Yeah, thank you.
Pat?
Coach, let me rephrase it. I'd say tonight's probably by far your guys' best defensive outing. I mean, not only did you out-rebound a Western Kentucky team, with all things considered, you guys have a lack of size right now. You also forced 21 turnovers, which is the most you guys have been able to force on the year, and you referred to Western's experience. I mean, were you just surprised to see your team play this well defensively this early on, with all things considered?
I think defense is all about effort, and certainly experience helps because, as an older player, you've seen flex duck in, you've seen surprise back screens, you've seen the center slip a ball screen and catch it at the rim. And freshmen are learning some of this stuff for the very first time. So when they're in a film session, we have got to have their eyes and their ears. And they have to understand that, you can't relax when your man doesn't have the ball. And, we're learning that. We didn't learn it all at once. We're learning it a little bit each game. I wasn't surprised the effort our players gave. They really care about one another. They care about winning. But, I am surprised that it became a 20-point game down the stretch. But, I can't worry about the spread. I can only worry about the psyche of my guys and continual improvement.
Go to Shannon and then Tyler.
Coach, your previous opponent, Prairie View, had to withdraw because of COVID. I know obviously you guys are fine because you were playing tonight, but what did that mean to you? Did you have to take additional tests or anything because they did come up with a positive?
No, so we were tested this morning. Man, these days run together. We were tested this morning, Shannon. So everybody in our program, from student managers to players to coaches, are all negative. So we were very thankful for that. And, again, I felt like it was going to be that way, not to, point guys out, but the kids that got it for Prairie View didn't play much, if any. So, we're very fortunate. We know that may not be what it's going to look like down the road, as you can see around the country.
Tyler.
Chris, after last game, you referenced David's consistency and wanting to see him kind of bring it the whole way through. Tonight felt like a pretty complete effort for him. What do you think made that difference to bring that consistent game?
I think Dave, he hit a couple shots, but I thought he was juiced from the very beginning. We got the ball into him in the post. He split before the double team came down. He used his size. I thought he played really slow, which is a good thing. And David's a really, really good player. I think he puts a lot of pressure on himself, like a lot of good players do, to be really good every night. But it's not like David played 35 minutes a game last year. He joined us almost the beginning of December, maybe very end of November. We watched as a staff our Western Kentucky game from a year ago, and my gosh, should have seen the mistakes he made last year. So he's come a long way, and he'll continue to get better and better. And love coaching him. He's an awesome kid. Never said two things about sharing point guard responsibilities with Carlik here, and just really, really coachable player and a smart player, and a good guy in the locker room, great teammate.
Go to Gary and then Michael.
Chris, what were your initial expectations about the chemistry with this team? And are you kind of surprised after 4 games how well they've kind of blended together? And I guess how much has Carlik really helped that?
Well, I think Carlik's helped a lot. I think the unusual circumstance that we all find ourselves in has really helped our guys bond. We were all brought together here maybe earlier than almost any school in the country, June 1st. Guys were in the gym on their own working out. NCAA changes the rule late July. They spent a lot of time in the dorm together. And, there's not a lot of, hey, let's go to the mall. You just can't. And so I think they're really, really high character people. And they were forced because of the pandemic to spend a lot more time with one another than they might normally do. And so it's been fun watching guys like Dre Davis, develop a relationship with a guy like Carlik Jones, who he didn't know 6 months ago. And it's a really special thing about our group. And I think when you don't have a lot of subs, sometimes you can grow even tighter. And they get on one another. It's been good. It's been fun to watch.
To Michael.
Coach Michael McCallum from Cardinal Authority. Carlik Jones made a point the other day when asked about what he would like to see the team improve on. He pointed out he would like to see the team close the game a little bit better. And there was a stretch there at the end. Western put the press on, looked like it was kind of flustering them a little bit. You called a timeout. Was there anything said, or what did you think of the resiliency of the team at down that stretch when Western was really trying to, I guess, speed things up and create some turnovers?
Yeah, so, I think that, when you have really young guys in your program that haven't been on the game floor with 3 minutes left in all different situations, maybe you're down a point, maybe you're up 12. And as you know, this level, a guy can hit back-to-back threes and a 12-point lead, 6 points, and it feels a lot different. And so the details needing to be executed have never really been important to guys that played in high school. They're just the best players. And so, you want to be able to feel like Carlik and David, guys that are really good ball handlers, can make solid decisions. We haven't been in a lot of situations before being pressed, shorthanded. We're putting guys in different spots. But we'll get better. We'll get better. We'll put guys in the right spots. We'll learn to pass fake. But I think the last 3 minutes, we won that last 3.5 minutes, and we got some breakaways and layups, and we broke the press after we called the timeout. And I thought our composure was really good. I think there was only one time in the last 3 minutes where they drove in and we fouled them. And that's the way that you can really make the game a lot longer. I know there was one at the end with a couple of our walk-ons in, but you can't have guys just drive in, foul, go to the free throw line, and keep setting up their press. And we were pretty good at keeping them off the line late.
Last 2 questions from Shannon, then Tyler.
Now that you've got 2 days before you play your next game, do you anticipate Samuel being able to be back for UNC Greensboro?
He gave it a shot tonight. He went through shoot around. I'm a lot more hopeful this evening about his return than I was maybe this morning. And I don't say that to point to Greensboro. I just mean Sam getting back. I don't know if that'll mean that he can be able-bodied enough to play on Friday, but he ran through our shoot around. He had no problem getting up and down the floor, shooting, jumping. It was a little bit of the lateral stuff, which is the way that his dislocation occurred. That was expected by our trainer, Fred. So we'll see if he makes the same improvement he did from yesterday to today. then we may feel good about him playing some against UNCG. But our luck, he'll probably be out for 12 weeks. All right.
Tyler, to close it out.
Chris, you've referenced effort a lot. There was a play in the first half where I think Jalen Withers went to the floor and David came up with it, threw a pass down court for a basket. Is that the kind of effort that you've seen, particularly from the young guys in these first couple of games, that's really impressed you?
I think that play was awesome. I think, us taking a couple charges at the end, Carly Jones stepping in, Dre Davis stepping in. I just think that, those plays of sacrificing your body, whether it's diving on a loose ball, whether it's taking a charge, that shows how much the game means to you and how much the result means to you and how much your teammates mean to you. And we're getting there. And it's great to see plays like that from young players who haven't been here before.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be back with Dre Davis and David Johnson tonight.
Hey, Kenny.